So, Carmina, are you going to
Okay.
transmit? Okay, dear friends, welcome again. I don't know what happened, some problems always with the internet, with the connection, with the transmission, but we are hearing back again. Thank you very much for following us. We were listening to Maureen, and she was talking about what does successful or what means a successful woman for her. I would like to ask you, Maureen, or to ask you, could you tell us who is Maureen Villalobos? What do you do
Certain.
in your life?
Yes, of course. Well, I lived a life of education. I think I always say I live education and love education because my family had a private university in Costa Rica, and I always worked with my family and started to love it. I administered or worked in the university doing different projects, and throughout my life, I learned so many things with that experience. But at some point in life, we decide it's a family of four girls. So the four girls want to do different things. And so we decide that it's better to go out of the university. I am in in the counseling, in the advisory board, but I'm not there anymore. So I decide, and this happens to a lot of people at some point in their lives, they have to leave what they're doing. And I think that's also a very important uh, point in life where we have to make a decision to stop doing what we have been doing all our lives, and then start again, start over. And that's one of the things that I think successful living is about. It's about this resilience, being able to get up and start again. And the many of you, as you know, if you have to move to a different country, you have to go to a new place, you have to start over from zero, right? And an example of this, as I was telling you, I left the university, and I decide to be independent. When you decide to be on your own, it's a hard process, but part of the growing process is also knowing to first work on your purpose, what it is that you're doing and that you do best. Then you start deciding on how to do it. And that's where you start a business. I started my own business at that point, and I started it because I was getting trained as a coach with the John Maxwell team, which is about leadership. We learn a lot about leadership and how we can be leaders in our countries and other places. And I started doing the coaching with that. But at the same time, or even a little bit later, I realized that a lot of the problems that I might be living at some point in my life, I was having a hard times or difficult times, was to learn how to leave your limiting beliefs, to work with your mind, with your ideas, your thoughts, thoughts that sometimes were not positive in your life. And in my life specifically, I realized I need to understand myself better. So I start doing this search inside. And I think that's something that if I can talk about success, I think the one of the first things that we all need to do in order to be successful is to reflect upon our lives and what we are doing with that, what we have done at some point in life. And it was a great opportunity that I had at a certain age, which was still young. I can still do a lot more things, and where I could just say, okay, what have I done? What do I know? What can I do for the rest of the world? How can I help from now on with everything that I have learned? and how we can go on and now do other things. So that's when I start doing these conferences, and I start training myself, because that's the first step. I always say, Maria Fernanda, first thing is we need to understand ourselves in order to be able to be leaders in anything that we do in our lives, right? So we need to train ourselves for that. So I start looking into how the brain works. So I go into neuroscience and I study the neuro leadership, which is really about understanding how your thought processes go, and being able to handle them in a way so that you can be more balanced and harmonious in your life. That includes doing meditation, that includes doing exercises, mental exercises also to help yourself, and start developing all the the discipline that you need in order to be able to get through a lot of the difficult things that happen in our lives, because we're always going to have difficulties in our lives. So one of the, I think the most important in anybody's life is to be able to make that stop, to make that pause, and be able to reflect upon themselves. So I started studying at that point, and the that helped me a lot to understand why I did a lot of the things, and also forget, or not forget, because we can't really forget. We can work with what we have. So for live with the experiences of the past, but understand them as something positive that can make us better today. So we live different experiences throughout the day. So one of the things that I like to do, for example, is to meditate upon the things that I have done throughout the day, and do a resignify them. That's what we do. We give them a different meaning, and the meaning is a positive one. How did we grow? What did we learn from those experiences? And that's what I did in the last 10 years. After that, I have had a lot of opportunities like the one we have today to be able to talk to people around the world. And at the same time, I was able to write some books. I have them here. Some books, and most of the books were about different things that we have to work on in as humans, and exactly talking about this, how you can understand your limiting beliefs, and how you can even go through them. And that's what I'm doing, and a lot of the mentoring on how to live with your daily experiences, understand them, and learn from them. And for me, that's success. For me, it's successful to be able to do what I love, what my passion is. And then, of course, everything starts coming. Once you start believing in yourself, once you start realizing all the things that you can do, how you can help others, then everything starts putting itself in its place, and all the opportunities start coming. And I think that's what people call abundance. Abundance is not money. Of course, I mean, thank God I do get the money, but it's not because the money doesn't come first. We work, we do things, we help ourselves and help others, and the money comes because of that. So that's I what I think is also very important for anybody who is in their path and their way to get a new business, to start over. And that's this is what my life has been about. It's just about taking different actions, reflecting, doing a lot of education, educating myself. And that's how I start creating, and that's how I start meeting people like you, Maria Fernanda, and doing things that we are doing today. So it's I think for me this has been the most it's something that I love, and it's something that I like to see what I always wanted to do. It's a dream, right? A dream come true. And who doesn't want to have their dreams come true? So it's just thinking about what that dream is really meant to be, what that dream is really about. It's not about having a lot of things, or doing a lot of things, or even working so much. It's about being able to do what you're passionate about. So I think that is also very important, Maria Fernanda.
Oh, great, Maureen. I'm really agree with you. We have to say hello to Elico, who says, "Smart, small. That's okay. Don't forget a veil is constantly being filled, drop by drop. Remember, every master was once a lover. Everyone starts small, so never settle for small. If you are, I've lost. It's a large message, but no one can achieve and present success in a day. Success comes only to those who have the will to persevere and the ability to work hard until the cup is full. Okay, we have a lot of people saying hello. Oh, our thinking is everything. Thoughts are material. Any person becomes that he thinks. If a person thinks about nonsense, he is always in pain. Okay, thank you. Elico is making a lot of reflections. Live in harmony. Harmony comes from within. Do not look for obstacles. On the contrary, try as much as possible to create comfort for yourself and be in harmony. Harmony is not a new code, a new car, or even a new marriage. Harmony is the whole world in your soul, and it starts with you. Oh, I like it. Okay, we have a lot of people from different countries: Georgia, India, Nigeria. Oh, very pretty good. Oh, Maureen, you are in a Latin country, a country which speaks only Spanish, I think.
Yes, yes.
Why do you have this very good accent in English? Why do you speak English very well?
Okay. Well, when I was young, my parents put me in an American school here, because there's American schools almost in different countries,
Everywhere.
and so yeah, so I went to that school here. But I think the most important was not that. It's just that I love English. I actually love it, and I have started to understand that that's one of the advantages that I have. So also being able to understand the little things that you do that are important is part of this whole process of being successful. We also need to understand that whatever we think might be very small can be very big. And in this case, look at us here. We can be talking to people all around the world because of being able to speak a language and another language. And I think that is something that sometimes we don't appreciate. We think that we take it for granted. We think this is something normal, that everybody does it, and it's not true. I have seen the benefits of, for example, getting to know different languages. I love languages, and I used to, so I just started training on those since I was a kid. And of course, now I had the opportunity to be able to translate in very big events. And I started with just going to translate in my church, because it's an international church, and so of course I start translating there, and they call me to translate in a big event in the U.S. And after that, I have the opportunity to translate to for very important people. And the most important thing about this is what you learn every day. For me, it's all about learning. It's all about wanting to learn something new every day, which is something that actually also helps your brain because we're activating our brain permanently. And this is something that is very important. So I started doing translation, simultaneous translation in some cases, and sometimes materials, different educational materials, and now books. And then you start with something small and it ends up being something big if you love it, if you're passionate about it. And so English is something that I really like, and I started teaching it for a while, but it has always been something that helps me a lot. So something so small, and that's being able to appreciate every little thing that we have. And it took me some time to understand that. I used to say, "Oh, I'm just gonna teach. I don't know. I don't want to just teach because I have taught all my life, and I even used to teach when I was very little, since we have the university and had the opportunity. I remember my father used to take me to classes for secretaries that were learning to speak English, and I was 12 years old, and they used to love just to hear a little girl speaking English. And since that day, I never forget being there and just being able to speak, and something that it seems so small can be so valuable for so many people. And so it's amazing that I can have this opportunity because I could speak English. So if any advice for anybody, learn a different language that spreads and expands your world, and it expands the gap of the list of opportunities you can have also. So that has been my experience, Maria Fernanda.
Great, Maureen. We are having some messages in the chat in the Facebook Live. EU International Internship University, the best wonderful platform in the world. Great. Elico, I agree with you. With a lot of hard work and determination, a person can achieve everything in life. Hello from Georgia, Elene, Katuna, Leah. Oh, a lot of people is writing now. I there are some
I
names which I can't pronounce because que te van dar chiste, I think. It's he's
okay.
sending a flower and claps for you.
That's
And
wonderful.
that sounds good. You told us about your books. Tell us something about those.
Yes, of course. Well, one of the things I realized throughout that stage of my life is that I have lived with a lot of guilt. And that's something that I think, I don't know if anybody realizes or if has the same experience, but in my case, we live with guilt throughout our lives, either taught by our ancestors or by our families, or self taught because we have learn to do that as something that we do. I don't know, for some reason our mind tells us feel guilty when it doesn't make any sense. And sometimes we have guilts that are non are sen- no have no explanation. And I realized I had lived a life with a lot of guilt. And as parents, for example, me as a mother, I have two girls. I felt a lot of guilt because I didn't have a successful marriage. And of course, at some point, that doesn't help you, your self esteem. You start feeling bad. What is it that, but I'm doing wrong? What is it that I did? Why did I do it? And then you start filling yourself up with these negative thoughts about yourself. And this is something that I think everybody has been through at some point, either a separation or a divorce. And that's something that I think does not help your self-esteem. But I give as a message, I always tell them, or tell people, now that I have lived through it and survived it, and worked with it. One of the things that you need to do in those cases is start thinking about, put things into perspective, put everything where it should be. We shouldn't have to feel guilty about something that just happened because it was. And of course, I believe in God, and I say, well, it was meant to be that way. I had to learn from that. Now take that experience and see what how I can do better with relationships later, how I can do better with myself and loving myself in order to be able to love somebody else. And so I also learned a lot of, I had to learn a lot about relationships and connections, how to make a connection with somebody else, and how to be able to make a connection that is deep and profound in order to be lasting, that lasts a long time. And that's the sort of thing that I'm teaching now. This is what I like to talk about because it has been my experience. So I wrote this book with 10 other women. And one of the most wonderful things about working with other people, because that's my message in that sense. When I worked writing my books, it was mostly with other women or men. We were in different, one of the books is mixed with women and men, and the other one was specifically for women, inspiring women to become leaders in their own lives. And that one, that's where I put in the guilt issue, because I thought, this is something also very much for women. It applies to women a lot, that we feel guilty because we can't be with our kids enough because we have to work, or guilty because we didn't do something right, or with our husbands, and maybe we lost or we had a difficulty with a relationship. Guilty almost every day because we couldn't be with our girls in some occasion or activity, because we had to work. And as women that do have to work, it's guilt becomes a big issue. So I wrote about this one with for inspiring women, and then the other one was mostly about neuro leadership, about how to lead your life in a way that you can understand your thoughts and be able to learn from them. So this is one of the books. My first book was actually an autobiography, and it was lost. It's in Amazon, but it is there. I never promoted it. I never talked about it because really, for me, I think writing is a healing process. It has been that way for me. So when I have something that I feel has taken a lot of time in my life, that's when I say, okay, we have to talk about this. Maybe I can help by giving or talking about my experience, and I can help other people with that. And so those are the books that I have written. And collaborating with other people has been the most challenging thing, but the most wonderful thing at the same time, because I have learned a lot from the other writers that were also part of these books, and the opportunity to be able to write is amazing. And of course, like I was telling you, Maria Fernanda, this happens when we make a decision in our lives to become ourselves, and I always say to become our real selves, to believe in everything that we are and say we can do it, and everything starts putting itself in its place and things start happening. And I got the opportunity to write the first time, but one thing that is also very important, I'm always ready for opportunity. I will not say no. And that might be good, sometimes not so good, because we also have to organize our lives in a way, and we have to be able to say no sometimes. But always take the opportunities when you see them, because I think one of the ways that you can feel success, that you can feel that things happen in your life is when you take these opportunities as they happen. So books have been that mostly. It's healing. It's about taking opportunities at the time that they come and saying, yes, I'll do it, believing in yourself and understanding that you can do it, even if you think it's something almost, impossible. In when we were younger, it was very hard to write a book. Now we have, Amazon and all these things, and now it's easier. But you also need discipline. You also need to make a decision and set yourself goals and say, I'm gonna write it, start writing it, and that takes time and work, and of course keep doing it. But that's part of the success, right? Being able to do all these things. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really what, yeah, Maria Fernanda.
Yeah, Elico says, I'm sure there will be very interesting and informative information in your book. I wish you success.
Thank you. Thank you. You can find them all in Amazon. And I guess if you look by the author, Maureen, you will find the books. And so I would love for you to give me feedback, and I'm sure I'm in all the social media, and of course, keep in touch, and we can also get messages every day. I like to give messages every day to think of and reflect upon yourself, because that helped me a lot throughout life.
Okay, so the people who is listening us now can follow you in the social media networkings or social media groups as Facebook, for example.
Yes, that's right. I'm in Maureen Villalobos mentor. It's Maureen mentor. In Instagram it's Maureen mentor, and the same with Facebook, it's the same. You can find me that way. And of course, the mentoring is something that I like to do, just because that is like our last step. If we have learned so much, if we have had some experience with this, how are we going to be able to give this back to other people? And I think one of the reasons and one of the main factors of success is also being able to understand that whatever you receive, you also have to give. I did training in what we call systemic therapy, and systemic therapy says that we this is our lives is a system. Everything is a system, and everything has a beginning and an end, but at the same time it goes around. So we also need to be able to, when we do something, we like when we give, for example, this is the order of love. When we give, we receive. And that's why when we think about what we're going to do in our lives, it's important to understand that we don't well, we can't just wait for things to come to us. We have to take actions, we have to do things. And many times, and my experience has been, what I have done is I said, I'm not going to worry about the money. I'm going to give as much as I can, but at the same time, with balance, because everything has to have a balance. So it's not all about just giving to everybody and doing everything for everybody, because in the end that does not work. And this is not, it's not a cycle, it's not a system. Then we are not receiving, and this is part and very important part of it. The flow energy has to come out and come in, come in, come out. And that's part of something that we need to understand in our life. So it's not all about giving, it's not all about getting, it's about having this flow and being able to give and get, give and get. And so that's, I think, one of my understandings in life that has helped me also to know that I don't need to get right now, because I will get it at some point in a different way that I have no idea. And we receive in so many ways, and sometimes we don't see it. we can, and all I have to worry about is doing my part, and I give what I can give from this side, and I know that in 5 years I will receive in some way, in a different way. And many times we think that giving is the same person, like we give to this person and we think we should receive from the same person. It doesn't work that way, and that's why we don't need to expect to get things from people, because it does not work that way. The life is about, you worry about yourself and what you are doing with your life, with your conscience, and what you are giving. And all those things will come to you, and they will come back to you in a different way that you can't understand. And that has been my life experience. And I always give that advice: don't expect things from everybody or from other people or from the person that you might be helping at this time, because you will get in different ways. And that's why we're here, Maria Fernanda. I am getting this opportunity from you, because at some point I helped somebody else in Canada, in another place, in another country, and that's how life works. And that's real successful living.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure of that. I'm agree with you. This world is small and round, and every time the things happen, the things move in a circle. And when you, as you say, when you give, okay, that person is not going to give back. But the phrase says, "Hands who gives, receive." And that is the opportunity that we have in the life. Share with the people the things that we have. Okay, we don't have the all money that we need to for or give to the other person, but we have the knowledge, we have the friendship, we have all things, a lot of things, the
Right.
ideas, the opportunities, and that is what we have to share. Thank you very much, Maureen. I would like to spend a lot of time with you here in the program, but I would like to say to Nona, if you want to achieve something, get right on negative thoughts and think about what you really want with all your heart. What brings you happiness or makes you successful? What settles in your mind and what you believe in yourself will definitely be reflected in real life. This is the secret of a successful life. Therefore, the more positive you have in your mind, the happier you are. At first, it seems difficult to always be positive. At first glance, it may seem artificial, but if you make it a habit, you will not only believe it, but also believe it that you simply cannot do it any other way. Oh, great,
That's
great.
right. You know it. I think everybody here, everybody connecting is very wise today. They are giving us very wise words also, and we're learning from you also. Thank you very much for all your feedback. It's very valuable to us. If
Yeah,
we
it's
can,
very interesting because the people is connected from different countries with different languages, and we just have the opportunity with this English to connect from all over the world. I don't know where exactly is Nona, but she is, oh, he, I don't know, because you know we have different names and in different pronunciations. I don't know, but has a lot of very good ideas, a very
yes,
good information with this sharing with us in this moment. It's very,
yes,
very
and
interesting, Maureen. And, I know you have a lot of projects in your life. What is the most proximity? What you are doing? What are you thinking to do in the short time?
well, I've come to realize after working with myself and trying to help myself understand all the things that you need to be able to have harmony and happiness in your life. I realized there's one thing missing, and that is to be able to create a project that can help other people. And in my experience, I had some difficulties with my children. And I know that the youth, young people, are going through very difficult times these days. And so I realized, I said, well, who do I want to be able to help right now? I think we all want to help our children, our young people, but I specifically, since I went through this process with my oldest daughter, who is an adolescent, I realized adolescence is also a very difficult time for anybody, and that they need help in specific things. And one of them is being able to understand their why attention, for example, attention deficit, and different neurological conditions that we have in our kids these days. Why have we been getting more and more kids with attentional deficit? Why are we getting more kids with high anxiety or depression and that sort of thing? So I want to be able to work with young people and help them understand what it is that is going through their minds and the emotions and so on, and deal with that. And so I have a project that I want to develop for helping these young kids in their process, as well as parents, of course, because as parents, we don't have anything written. And when I was there, I didn't know what it was that we had to do. I didn't understand how to do it. And many times we have to just get a lot of our wisdom, what we have learned, and we don't always make the right decisions. But I think what one of the things that I've learned is we need to be able to connect with these young people and to understand them, to know what they're, to put ourselves in their shoes, as we say, to be able to know what is happening at the moment. Their generations now are different from our generations when we were young. And so we sometimes think, okay, but in our times we didn't we didn't do things that way. We didn't have help from other people. We didn't get all the things that you're getting now. But the truth is, even if they're getting all these things, that's not necessarily something positive. That is not necessarily helping them. That is just maybe even making things worse for them. So we also need to understand, try to put ourselves in another time, in this time, in the moment, and understand that it's different moments, it's different times. And so we need to be able to help them go through all of this too, and especially after everything that we have been through in the world with the pandemic, right? It has changed the world, I think, for the best, because even if there were so many difficulties and hardships and many loved ones were gone, I think this was a time for us to be able to make changes. And that's why we're here, right? We need to make changes in our lives, and by making changes in our lives, we're making changes in the world. And
all
so
around
this
you.
is right.
Mm-hmm. Great. Angela Mentora is saying, I admire Maureen and Fernanda for the messages of love they bring to the world. Hello, my dear. Thanks for writing. Katuna, Bawan.
Angela
Uh,
is my mentor actually, and she is amazing. She has helped me a lot through this whole process, and we keep working every day. But she's an admirable woman. I have to say thank you very much, Angela, for
Angela
being here.
Kohler. Angela Kohler is your friend?
Yes, yes, of
Oh, it's
course.
my friend also.
Yes, I just
I say,
realized today.
I
It's a
told
small
you, I
world.
told you, it's a small world, a small and round world. Okay, people around the world, thank you for following us. Thank you for International Internship University for the opportunity. Thanks for all the ideas that we can share with the world between each other. You are friends, you are people in the world who you are positive people in this world who are making something for the others. Thank you very much, Maureen. It's a pleasure for me. Please don't forget to follow her in the internet relationships, connect with her, ask her, and everything. I think the people who share is the people who love. Thank you very much
Exactly.
for everybody. I'll see you next Monday at the same time with another friend who is coming. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Maria Fernanda. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here and wanting to learn every day. That is being successful.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you, International University, because this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye.